All right, welcome everybody to our March 17th, 2022 Mason Public Schools Diversity Committee meeting. We appreciate you being here and joining us. We're going to report out here on what we've accomplished in March, and I'm Mike Kralsnick, one of the co-chairs, filling in this evening for our Director of Student Supports, so I had to step away to another event. So first off, I'm going to turn it right over to Dr. Carlin Titchener to talk about the summary of the meeting from his perspective.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us again. For those who listen in here live or otherwise on the recording, again, my name is Carlin Titchener, District Consultant. Our primary focus on today's agenda was really debriefing the Mason Moves Forward event on Saturday, March 12th was the date. Excellent job by the subcommittee for engaging the community and bringing over, I want to say, plus 50. I definitely felt like it was 200 people in the room. Students had the opportunity to speak. Adults had the opportunity to speak. But more importantly, we came together as a Mason community to talk about a topic that continues to be of importance, not only in the school district, but beyond in the community. What we know is that the school community is a microcosm of the broader community, and they work hand in hand. They're in tandem, and their conversation together has to be toward forward movement. What I was most excited about was the students who were able to speak their heart and their truth about what Mason can be as it moves forward. And I am more excited as the students get increasing opportunities to speak their truth and their voice. And I'm excited that this committee and that you as a community will continue to create that space for the students to help us transform Mason as a broader community. We also provided an update on the February 25th PD. Again, that topic cut across equity with 4 different presenters, from lawyers to current educators to technical assistance providers, helping us understand the impact of trauma, of diversity as it relates to gender identity, as well as 504 plans and special education designations, and how we have to create spaces and policies and practices that support every student, so that they all are successful. The next thing that we did is we talked about a district survey that went out again in the spring that will close here soon. And the purpose of that district survey is to get data from the teaching and staff ranks to help us better improve our processes related to diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and to hopefully see some progress in our efforts. And so that will close here soon and will be available on the district website. And then the last thing is we talked specifically about intersectionality. I'll invite you to Google that if you're interested in the word. And the subcommittee, as a large committee, actually talked about our own individual identities and where we have privilege and where we may experience marginalization. And what we encourage is that you have a similar conversation with yourself, reflect on your opportunities for growth as it relates to your privilege, but also understand where you might be marginalized so that all of us can develop more empathy toward the experience of others and ourselves. That concludes my reports.
All right, thank you, Dr. Titchener. I really appreciate that. We're going to move on. Our next agenda item is our diversity subcommittee chair reports, and we're going to start with our community educational resources and communications committee, and that is Jen.
Thank you. As Dr. Titchener mentioned, we had a very successful Mason Moves Forward on Saturday, and we were really excited to see everyone come out and support that. We were very grateful to hear from Joshua Langford and then also from the students who worked on some amazing art and essay submissions for the What Diversity Means to Me contest that we held in February. It was a great moment for them to be able to share their voices. And one of my favorite quotes came from Dr. Titchener in his closing address to us, that you will be someone who steps forward when you are uncomfortable. As we move forward, that is something that we have to consider. And so we look forward to being able to have more events. And we did also tonight approve the book club for Mason Moves Forward. And the first book we will be sending out information, but the first book will be Blind Spot by Mazarin Banaji and Anthony Greenwald. And so we look forward to that. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you, Jen. Our next committee is Education Development and Resources, and that is Kim Clark.
Hi there. My subcommittee this month is working on developing our resource hub in the form of a Padlet that can cover several DEI topics and be easily accessible and hopefully be put towards the broader diversity committee and put into practice for the upcoming year. As it was mentioned already, my subcommittee would also like to focus on continuing to put student voice in the forefront of our work by revisiting our goal of putting together a video of some of our students and their experiences here in Mason.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. Next is Mr. Ted Berryhill, and it's District Policies, Guidelines, and Practices Subcommittee.
Thanks, Mr. Prelsnick. Good evening, everyone. Our subcommittee continues to meet and work on a DEI tool for decision makers and leaders within the school community. This tool will be developed by our subcommittee and presented to the full committee for approval in the upcoming April meeting. This tool is designed to make sure that people that set policies or make guidelines within the school district have thought of and have asked themselves the right questions with regards to all of our DEI work, and that we make sure that our policies and guidelines that we're using throughout the school district are aligned with the values that we want to represent. And so we look forward to presenting that in April to the full committee and then moving it forward to the school leadership. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, Ted. Our next subcommittee is the Student Experience Subcommittee, and Alex Port is going to give that committee report tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Amy Sue Hopkins has spoken for the Student Experience Subcommittee on these webinars in the past, and I've stepped into a co-chair role to assist her for the rest of the year, so that's why I'm speaking tonight. Our subcommittee has put in a formal request to present student climate surveys that we've created to the full diversity committee. We've created 4 different climate surveys for different age levels. One is for grades 1 and 2. A second one is for grades 3 to 5. Another is for middle school level, and then the last is for high school. Should that be approved by the full diversity committee, we would look forward to having students take that and would be excited to collect data on how students feel about their belonging to their school and their district. Currently, the Student Experience Subcommittee is also working to research some different lessons and curriculum maps and resources for teachers who may want to introduce diversity topics at different grade levels, as well as assisting teachers on how to handle topics of diversity that may come up organically from students during class. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Alex. Our next subcommittee is Mary Hilker is going to present on the Instructional Practices and Curriculum Design Subcommittee.
Good evening. So my subcommittee has been working on developing sub-questions to different PLC questions that we work on each week. So we're still in the midst of that. So they'd be questions that really help tune into the equity piece of instruction consistently. And then we're also really trying to talk about tier 1 instruction, just basic instruction, and how we can reach and talk on a broader level, district-wide, and different tools and resources that have really done some expert work nationwide on what good practices would be. So really trying to implement and think about doing that next year.
Great, thank you, Mary. Our last committee is Membership Committee, and Rick Brooks is going to present on that.
Thanks, Mike. Our committee has got new leadership. Myself and Lance Delbridge will be coordinating the committee for the rest of the year, as our prior chairperson or leader took a new opportunity and is no longer with our district. But our committee was working actively and will through this next month on membership for the coming year. We will be surveying current diversity committee for their interest in continuing or stepping away after the school year. And then following that, we'll know what open positions that we'll have available to our community more broadly. And we'll be sending out a survey to gauge interest in those available roles. And that survey will go out during the month of April. And one last item that we'll be working on with our full diversity committee next month is leadership or subcommittee leadership changes that happen mid-year and how we'd like to go about that. So our subcommittee has a recommendation for the larger committee to consider. And once we have consensus on that, we'll have a more formalized method on handing off leadership roles within the committees. Thanks.
All right, thank you, committee chair. So that concludes our committee chair reports. Just the last comment is just kind of a summary here of the meeting or concluding comment. We appreciate everybody who joins these meetings either live or maybe you're watching it later on a recorded session. And just keep in mind, we have our district webpage, which has a DEI section. And you can always go to that for resources and also check out some of the activities and some of the work we're doing in DEI. As you could tell tonight, we were really excited by our Mason Moves Forward event we had last week and our staff PD we had at the end of February. And just really proud of those activities and look forward to doing lots more great things with this committee. Our next meeting is April 21st. So we invite the community to join us for this live session. It'll be at 6:45 on April 21st. So with that concludes the public share out of the meeting and for March, and appreciate everybody's contributions tonight and have a great night.